Hello friends, कैसे हैं आप लोग? I hope you all are fine. This lecture is on the Battle of Panipat, the third Battle of Panipat. So we have seen the first two Battle of Panipats, the first battle and the second battle. And this was the third Battle of Panipat. And I hope you remember that this battle, it took place between Ahmad Shah Abdali and the Marathas. So Ahmad Shah Abdali was the ruler of Afghanistan and Marathas under Balaji Bajirao. Now, why this battle took place, that story also I told you in the previous video. Now, what is there in today's PPT? Coming to the third battle of Panipat that took place in 1761, let's see who all are the important personalities. So here I have tried to provide you the pictures of those personalities. Ahmad Shah Abdali, he was the ruler of Afghanistan, or you can say the Afghan ruler. And then here you can see the picture of Shuja-ud-daulah of Awadh, who played a very important role in the battle. And then the third picture is of Sadashivrao Bhau. As you can see in this slide, the third picture is of Sadashivrao Bhau, who was the cousin of the Peshwa Balaji Bajirao. And Balaji Bajirao sent Sadashivrao Bhau along with his minor son Vishwasrao. So Vishwasrao was made the nominal head of the army, and the army was sent by the Peshwa. So these are the three important personalities of the third battle of Panipat. Now, what was the role of Shuja-ud-daulah? Now, Shuja-ud-daulah of Awadh, he played a very important role in the battle, and both the sides, both the opponents, you can say, Ahmad Shah Abdali and the Marathas, they wanted Shuja-ud-daulah by their side. So, Shuja-ud-daulah, he was the Subadar of Awadh. So, when the news came that Ahmad Shah Abdali was marching forward after occupying various areas of Punjab and Bhutan, and he is moving forward. Marathas they tried to bring Shuja-ud-daulah to their side. So Marathas they wrote to Shuja-ud-daulah that we have to protect the country from the invader, from foreign invader or outsider. And further, Marathas also had very good relations with his father, Safdarjung, who was the Wazir of the Mughal Empire at one point of time. So Marathas had very good relation with his father. So Marathas uh, wrote to him that we have to protect our nation from the foreign invader, and you please come to our side. So Shuja-ud-daulah he gave an assurance to the Marathas that I will side with other opponent, Ahmad Shah Abdali, he also wanted Shuja-ud-daulah by his side. So he also gave some assurances to Shuja-ud-daulah, and he also offered, like Marathas, the Wazirship of Delhi to Shuja-ud-daulah. So he also wanted Shuja-ud-daulah to be to help him during the war. But Shuja was not very well convinced with what Ahmad Shah Abdali was saying, and he had already given word to whom? To Marathas. So what happened? Ahmad Shah Abdali, he sent another person, Rohilla chief Najib-ud-daulah. So Ahmad Shah Abdali now sent Najib-ud-daulah to convince Shuja-ud-daulah to their side, so to participate in the war from their side. Now, what was the role of Najib-ud-daulah? Najib-ud-daulah's role was to convince Shuja-ud-daulah to join Ahmad Shah Abdali. So how he convinced him? He convinced him by saying that we are brethren in faith. We are brother in faith. Our faith is similar, and it is the war between Kafir and Islam. So he gave this war the religious turn. And it is the duty of every holy Muslim to participate in this war by the side of whom? Ahmad Shah Abdali. So this is how Najib-ud-daulah he tried to convince Shuja. So in the end, with the assurances of Najib-ud-daulah and all the promises that Abdali was making. He was giving him the viziership of Mughal Empire, and side by side, Najib-ud-daulah also convinced that this is the holy war in which all the Muslim or all the Muslims should be at one side, and it is the war between Kafirs and Islam. So, with these arguments, Shuja-ud-daulah he finally sided with the Ahmad Shah Abdali, and this was huge loss to Marathas. What all were the benefits of Shuja-ud-daulah joining Abdali alliance? The benefits were, what were the benefits to Abdali? Now, Abdali he gained the moral prestige. Why moral prestige? Because now an Indian, you can say an Indian Muslim, he was joining his side. So he gained moral prestige from this. Also, he got support of army. Whose army? Shuja-ud-daulah's army. So the army was disciplined and it supported Ahmad Shah Abdali. And also he got finances from Shuja. See Mughal territory. Then here Rohillas under whom? Najib-ud-daulah. This is Awadh under whom? Shuja-ud-daulah. Okay. And here these were the parts of Punjab. Okay, Multan, Lahore, and Abdali was marching towards the Mughal territories. So now what happened in the third battle of Panipat? So decline of Mughal Empire led to territorial gains for the Maratha Empire. We have seen this. So Marathas, it became a very effective and strong power all over India. And then they tried to occupy Punjab. So their occupation of Punjab brought them into direct conflict with whom? Ahmad Shah Abdali, or you can say Ahmad Shah Durrani. And then Shuja-ud-daulah, the Nawab of Awadh, he was solicited by both. So both the sides wanted him to come and stand by them. But he finally chose whom? He finally chose the Afghans. And this was a major loss for Marathas since Shuja-ud-daulah provided lot of finances for the long Afghan stay in North India. This we have seen. Now, what was the action taken? Peshwa, he had sent a powerful army under the actual command of his cousin Sadashiv Rao Bhau and his minor son Vishwas Rao. He was the nominal head. So ultimately, we have seen the background. This much story we have seen that both sides were there. Ultimately, the battle was fought. The third battle of Panipat was fought in 1761 between the European style artillery and cavalry of Marathas and heavy cavalry and mounted artillery of Afghans and Rohillas. So this battle, or you can say the third battle of Panipat, started on 14 January 1761. Now, ultimately, what was the result of third battle of Panipat? You know this. So the result was that Ahmad Shah Abdali, he emerged victorious, and Marathas, they lost the third battle of Panipat, which was a huge loss to their prestige. And third battle of Panipat is important because it changed the power equations in India. How? The power equations were changed because Marathas, who were growing stronger and stronger and who were the rising power and who had the capability to replace Mughal Empire, but ultimately they lost in the third battle of Panipat, and it was a loss of moral prestige. They were the alternate to the Mughal Empire, but suddenly they lost this important battle, the third battle of Panipat, and it benefited whom? Ultimately, it benefited the Britishers. And this paved the way for Britishers to expand. So Britishers who were there in Bengal and who were utilizing the resources of Bengal for their own purposes. So they were getting stronger and stronger in these areas, and they were silently also watching what was happening to Marathas. Okay, now reasons for the Afghan victory. What were the reasons? First reason, Marathas, they tried to gather support from Jats, Rajputs, because at one point of time, Marathas had levied heavy fines on them. So Marathas had made more enemies, okay, on the Indian soil. Why? Because they defeated them, they interfered in their affairs, and they gained revenue, or you can say they levied heavy fines on them and got money. So why would these powers would have supported Marathas? So these powers, they did not support Marathas. Therefore, Marathas' efforts to bring together all Indian forces to fight went in vain because they did not supported Marathas. Okay. Then second reason, unlike Ahmad Shah Abdali, who subsequently raised the cry of jihad, the Marathas could not mobilize their resources and make a common cause with the Sikhs. So, like Ahmad Shah Abdali called this war as jihad and gave it a religious color, Marathas could not do the same, or they could not mobilize the Indian powers to their side. And also, as we have seen, they also did not give the charge of Punjab to Sikhs also. So Sikhs also did not supported Marathas. Further, the third reason, Maratha leaders, they argued over unimportant things. Okay, so you can say there was lack of unity also at that time. They were arguing amongst themselves when they have to be united against the common enemy. The combined army of Abdali and his allies were numerically superior to the Maratha army, so they were more in numbers. Then another reason, which is again very important, and we have discussed it, Shuja-ud-daulah's support also proved decisive as he provided the necessary finances for the Afghans' long stay in northern India. So the very important reason for the loss of Marathas was that uh, Shuja-ud-daulah of Awadh, he sided with Ahmad Shah Abdali and not with Marathas. Now, next point, the Maratha capital at Pune and the battlefield was miles away. So during the siege before the war, both sides, they tried to cut off each other's supplies, in which Afghans were more effective. So you know that Marathas, their main area, or they were concentrated in central India and they were fighting a battle in North India. So it was very far away from the central India. So they did not get the necessary supplies, or it was very time consuming. Okay. So all these factors led to the victory of the Afghans under Ahmad Shah Abdali. Now, what was the result? So now what was the result of Third Battle of Panipat? Now the result was devastating for Marathas as many Maratha commanders, including Peshwa's minor son Vishwas Rao, Sadashiv Rao Bhau also, they were killed in the battle. So the minor son of Peshwa, whose name was Vishwas Rao, he was killed. And Sadashiv Rao Bhau, who was the cousin of the Peshwa, he was also killed in the battle. The forces led by Ahmad Shah Abdali came out victorious after destroying several Maratha flanks. So obviously they became victorious and they destroyed the Maratha army. Immediately after battle, Afghan army killed thousands of Maratha soldiers as well as civilians in the streets of Panipat. And the end of Peshwa Balaji Bajirao was hastened by the tragic news of their loss in the battle. So Balaji Bajirao, he could not, take up this tragic news that his son also died and they lost the third battle of Panipat. So his end also was near. And this halted further Maratha advances in the north and destabilized their territories for next 10 years. So next 10 years, Marathas, they were not that strong as they used to be. And it was big blow to the prestige of Marathas. Then the last point, Durrani, or you can say Ahmad Shah Abdali, he did not remain in India for too long. He reinstated the Mughal emperor, whose name was Shah Alam II. So he placed Shah Alam II as the emperor of Delhi and he left. Okay, so this was the result. And one more important result was that now who emerged from thin margins? The Britishers. All this became advantageous to whom? All this benefited whom ultimately? The Britishers. Okay, so again, this is the family chart of Peshwas. And we saw that who was the Peshwa during the third battle of Panipat? The Peshwa was Balaji Bajirao, who was the son of Bajirao first. Okay, and he had sent his cousin Sadashiv Rao Bhau in the third battle of Panipat, and he had named or he had sent the powerful army under the nominal head of his minor son Vishwas. So both Vishwas Rao and Sadashiv Rao, they were killed in the third battle of Panipat, and this also brought the end of whom? The Peshwa. So we had studied that for 10 years again the Maratha forces were destabilized under who became until who became the next Peshwa? Madhav Rao. He became the next Peshwa. So meanwhile, Marathas' laws gave opportunity to British East India Company to consolidate their power in Bengal and South India. So they were consolidating. And this period of 10 years, when Marathas were destabilized, is marked by the rule of Peshwa Madhav Rao first. So Madhav Rao first, he was the son, as we have seen in the family tree, that Peshwa Madhav Rao first was the son of Balaji Bajirao. Okay, so Madhav Rao, he was the son of Peshwa, ex-Peshwa Balaji Bajirao, and for 10 years he was the Peshwa, and he is credited with the revival of Maratha domination. So he again tried to revive the Maratha power or Maratha supremacy, but his death in 1772. So 61 में क्या हुआ? Third Battle of Panipat. Nearly 10 or 11 years after it, what happened? The next Peshwa, who was Peshwa Madhav Rao first, जो कि consolidate करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे वापस, he also died. And this led to struggle for power between Raghunath Rao, who was the brother of Balaji Bajirao, and Narayan Rao, who was the son of Balaji Bajirao. So again, if you see the family tree, now according to this tree, Vishwas Rao, he died. Madhav Rao, he became the next Peshwa, but he also died in 1772. So now there was power struggle between whom? Raghunath Rao and Narayan Rao. So Raghunath Rao, he was the brother of Balaji Baji Rao, and Narayan Rao was the son of Balaji Baji Rao. So there was struggle between both of them as who would be the next Peshwa after the death of Madhav Rao first. So switching back again to the slide. So after Narayan Rao was killed, his widow gave birth to Madhav Rao II. So there was power struggle, and Narayan Rao was killed by Raghunath Rao. So after Narayan Rao was killed, his widow gave birth to Madhav Rao II, who was legally the next Peshwa. Okay, so when Narayan Rao was killed, his widow gave birth to Savai Madhav Rao. So legally he was the next Peshwa. So obviously the 12 Maratha chiefs under Nana Fatnavis, they named son of Narayan Rao, whose name was Madhav Rao II, as the next Peshwa. And this resulted in Raghunath Rao, who was eyeing the Peshwaship and who wanted to be the Peshwa. This resulted in Raghunath Rao reaching out to British for help. So he wanted to be Peshwa. Who? Raghunath Rao. He wanted to be the Peshwa, but who was declared the Peshwa? Madhav Rao II. And so Raghunath Rao, he went to British for help, and this led to first Anglo-Maratha War. Okay. Later we will study that after the three Anglo-Maratha wars, ultimately who emerged victorious? The Britishers. So I hope that you understood what I tried to explain you today in this lecture. And I hope you enjoyed the story also, that what happened in the third battle of Panipat. So if you like the video, guys, please like and please share your comments with me, and please like the video, share this video too, and please subscribe to the channel if you want. Thank you so much.